right, I'll have everybody go ahead and lie down. Lie on your back, please. Inhale. We'll probably be lying down on your side at some point, and so if you want to grab something, head support when you're going to your side. Sure. It's a good idea to grab something. And here we are. Down. Yeah, we're just getting started, and so go ahead and you can lie on your back. We're starting with the scanning right now, so. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes if you want to, and bring your attention to yourself and to your notice, and starting to notice your breathing and your breath. Attend to your own breathing and attend to your body parts and how they move when you breathe in and when you breathe out. And slowly and becoming more and becoming aware more of yourself. What do you sense moving? What parts can you feel the movement? Don't change anything when you start to pay attention to your breathing. You don't have to try to breathe in a certain way. Just let your breath find own rhythm and the pattern, and just to notice what is moving. Feel your belly moving, maybe feel your chest, your ribs, and move in a certain way. And shift your attention to your spine, and spine from your lower back, your lumbar spine. And notice the space. There's probably space, and perhaps it is not directly touching the ground. So notice the space behind your back and the amount of the space, the height of the arch, and the shape of the space. And take a moment to notice the contact of the entire spine, and notice the weight and how the weight changes from one vertebra to the next vertebra. How does the pressure and the contact change and increase, and what part of the spine bears the most of the weight? And pressing into the floor. And as you're moving from your lower back to the mid back, and then notice at some point, and the pressure increases, and then you pass the heaviest part of the spine, and the pressure and the contact is starting to lighten away. And as you're moving past that point, your mid back, and moving towards your upper back, and then pressure becomes lighter and lighter, and notice how the contact changes. And as you're coming close to your upper back, your neck, and probably the spine, the vertebra starts to move away from the floor, or has very light pressure in the contact. And there's maybe a gap behind your neck, and notice the space behind your neck. And the weight of your head. And the weight of the shoulders, your shoulder blades. How does the right shoulder blade and shoulder touch the floor? Make a contact with the floor. Pressure, amount of the weight, the amount of the contact. And compare to the left side. Which shoulder has more weight and feels closer to the ground? As if one side is pressing into the floor, or as if the one side is lifting away from the floor. As if your body is turning in one direction. Which way are you turning? And notice the contact with your head. And where's the weight on the back of your head? And which way is the head turning? Or does it feel as if it is turning more towards one direction than the other directions? And if you want, you can roll your head to the left and roll your head to the right. And notice how your head rolls to the left and rolls to the right. Easier one direction? Maybe. And what's the difference in the quality of the movement, turning the head to the left and to the right? And you can pause and lift your right shoulder just a little bit away from the floor and notice the quality of the lifting the right shoulder. How does the right shoulder lift away from the floor? Easier? Compare that to the left side. Lift your left shoulder just gently and lightly away from the floor, like once or twice, and notice which side is easier to lift. There's a difference in the quality. One side is easier, one side is harder. And stop. And now slowly shift your attention to your pelvis. And notice the weight. And how is the weight distributed between the right and the left? Which pelvis feels closer to the ground, the floor? Does it feel as if it's turning to the left or turning to the right? Is the pelvis turning the same direction as your head or your shoulder, or is it turning the opposite direction? So just once and lift your right hip or the pelvis away from the floor, and like turning your pelvis to the left, just a little bit, and then down. And then do the other side. Turn the pelvis to the right and lifting your left side of the pelvis and put it down. Which side feels easier? Which side felt harder? All right, and just pause and leave everything. And lying down on your side, lying down on your back with your legs long. And just imagine, just think in your head, and just you are going to roll onto the left side. Just think without really rolling to the left side. Just thinking to do that movement and turning and rolling over to the left side. What is that? How does that feel to you? And just in your imagination, think that you're going to turn and roll over to the right side. And how is it different? How does it feel different? Just thinking to roll over to the right side. What's the difference in the quality? Just even without moving. And just once and slowly and roll onto the left side. And I like you to do it really slowly, and so you can pay attention. And how does it feel? And the quality, easy or hard? And so you're going to roll the whole body into the left side. So you're going to roll onto your left side. But do it so slowly that you can feel the moment that you increase in effort. And how is the movement? Roll over to the left side. And then slowly roll onto your back again. And come on back onto your back. So how does it feel? What's the effort? How much of an effort do you sense and to roll onto the left side and compared to the right side? And slowly roll over to the right side, just maybe once or twice, and notice the difference. And when you do that, and can you do it without, well, I'm not going to say actually anything, just do it however you want to do it. Which side is easier to roll onto? There's some difference in quality. Which side feels lighter? Which side feels heavier? Now, roll onto your left side. You're going to lie on your left side and use some head support underneath your underneath your head. So make sure your head is not hanging. So you're gonna roll into your left side and stay on your left side, please. And so you're going to bend your legs, bring your hips and knees up just a little bit high so their legs are not straight. Legs are slightly bent, like as if you're sitting in a chair. So stack your legs on top of each other. And from there, just you can put your right hand anywhere you feel comfortable. You can put it on the floor in front if you want, or you can put it on your side if that's easier. So, by the way, you don't have to really watch the skeleton, but I do have a skeleton here, so I'm just kind of showing you the position and the movement. So, from there, and bring attention to your right shoulder, the one that is on top, okay? And you're going to do the small movements of moving the right shoulder forward, just gently, forward directions, not too far, and then roll your shoulder backward directions, forward and the back, but you're not really going as far as you can possibly, but you're just moving gently, going to moving your shoulder forward and backward directions. Like so. Without making that much of an effort. But notice the quality of the rolling and moving the shoulder, right shoulder forward and back directions. Like so. Okay, and you pause. Now you're going to shift your attention to your right side of the pelvis. Okay, the one that is on top. You're going to make a similar movements and moving the right pelvis forward directions and then the backward directions. Slowly and gently a few times. Don't stress it. Don't effort too much. Make it pretty light and simple. Just let the pelvis move forward and in the backward directions. And notice the quality of the moving the pelvis forward and the backward directions. How do you move the pelvis forward and back? Okay. And go ahead and leave it. And be gentle with the next one. Shift your attention to your head. You're going to roll your head forward and in the back. But don't strain your neck. Just gentle and small movements, fine. Roll your head forward and in the back. Now to a point of the stretch. Make it pretty easy. Okay, and now you stop. Simple movements, right? And now, okay, you're going to bring your attention to your right knee and keeping your feet together, you're going to lift your right knee a little bit away from the left knee towards the ceiling and back down. Don't make it a big movement, and it's not an exercise to strengthen your buttock muscles. Okay? So all you're going to do is raise your right knee a little bit and then bring it down. So what's the effort? How much effort does it take to lift your knee? What's the quality? Does it change your breathing at all when you lift your knee? You hold your breath, or you're able to continue your normal breathing rhythm and continue with this movement. Okay, and leave it. And one more. Now, keeping the knees together this time, but lift your right foot away from your left foot towards the direction of the ceiling. Not a lot, just a little. Up, down. Okay, and like so. Let's stay on your side and take a rest on your side. If you like to roll onto your back and rest on your back, you can do that too. But if you're okay staying on your left side, please stay. So going back to the first movement, okay, of moving the shoulder forward and backward directions, but this time I'm going to change the intention, okay? So instead of having your attention on your right shoulder, now shift your attention to your left shoulder, the one that is on the ground, okay, on your left shoulder. And think about using your left shoulder and pushing into the floor and using the ground and to move your right shoulder, the top shoulder, forward and backward directions. Okay, it's the same movement that you're going to make with your right shoulder, but you're going to think about using your left side, left shoulder, and how do you use the left shoulder and against the ground and push your left shoulder on the floor in a way that moves your right shoulder forward and backward directions. It's a very different experience. Now your attention is on your left side, but you're moving the right shoulder. So how did that change your experience of that movement, moving your right shoulder? Your right shoulder still moves them forward and back, but you have to use yourself in a very different way. Maybe this is very new, and maybe this is something that you pretty familiar. But take your time and really explore that there's the way to use the ground and then way to use your left shoulder to move your right shoulder. So how do you use your left shoulder and how do you press your left shoulder into the floor in a way that moves the right shoulder forward and backward directions? And how hard do you have to press your left shoulder to move your right shoulder? And how light the pressure that you can use with the left side and to move your right shoulder forward and back? It really doesn't take that much of a pressing and effort from the left side. If it becomes very clear, and then it only takes so little movement and effort, and that you can move, you find that the right shoulder is actually moving forward and back quite effortlessly. Okay, and go ahead and stop. And we'll do one more thing, and then I'll have you roll onto your back, and we'll take a rest. Now, moving on to the right hip, your pelvis. Okay, just like you did previously, you're moving your right pelvis forward and back, but now you have your attention on the left pelvis. And how do you use the left pelvis and press your left pelvis into the floor in a way that you can move your right pelvis forward and back? Again, a very different idea and very different experience, very different sensation. So just take your time and then learning and to use the ground to your advantage And you can really use a different part of yourself and to move the right pelvis in a much, much more comfortable and easier way and with less effort. And do it so slowly, and then you can find even more comfort each movement you do, instead of you increasingly becoming tired as you continue to do that, but you're actually finding more comfort and more pleasure and as you continue to move. And how do you find that? How do you move towards that ease and comfort each time, as opposed to feeling more effort as you do more? Okay, and use that movement and to roll onto your back, and you can remove the padding underneath the head and lie on your back, please. And notice the sensation of your right side and your left side. Any difference? Contact, the quality of the contact or the sensation in your arms, in your legs, in your torso. Does one side feel longer, bigger? And slowly roll onto your left side again. Same position you were in before. I'm going back to do a few more movements on your left side. And be sure to have your head supported. Okay. So now, moving into the head. All right, so have your attention to your head and roll your head forward and in the back. But now, how do you use a different part of your head to move your head, roll your head forward and back? How do you use the ground? How can you use the ground and to roll your head in a different way? That almost gives you a more comfort and ease. Right? Just by shifting your attention and how you move and where you move from, it really gives you a completely different way to use yourself. So feel the floor and how is the pressure changes and how can you use the ground to roll the head. Pretty gentle, okay? And try not to make it stretch. Small movement and move it slowly and stay within a small range. Okay. Just a few times and stop. It's maybe a little challenging, but we'll see. Knee, okay? The right knee, you're going to lift your right knee, keeping your feet together, like you did the last time. But how do you use your different part of yourself and how can you use the ground? What parts do you press into the floor to lift your right knee? So take your time and to explore that. You may not find it right away, but you really listen. The moment that you begin to lift your right knee, now how does the contact and the pressure changes on your left side? A certain part of yourself presses a little bit, And what parts? What parts can you press into the floor to lift your right knee? All right. I'll have you do that a few more times. If you get tired, just stop. You don't really think about it when I ask you to lift your right knee. Of course, you think about lifting your right knee. You don't think about all the other things. But how do you lift your right knee? There are many ways to lift your right knee. And there are many ways to use yourself. You can find different ways to use yourself. Maybe perhaps you find a more efficient and more comfortable way to use and move. As your right foot pressing to the left foot, as you lift your right knee, and how does that change the pressure against the floor? And you pause. Okay. And now you lift your right foot away from the left foot and keeping your knees together, like so. So, what happens? What happens? And find a way to use the ground to lift your right foot. A little bit. It doesn't have to be a big lift. It may be just only a few inches. But what do you press? Or what can you press? And there's maybe more than one part. What can you press to lift your right foot? Or to make your right foot feel or move, become lighter? How do you do that? And let's take a pause. Okay. You can stay on your side and rest. Have a visitor here. Cat is joining the lesson. Huh? All right. And now, roll the entire self forward and back. Okay, and you can just think about the whole, the right side, and just think about roll the whole right side forward and backward directions. Right. Just for now, you just all you have to think about is just rolling yourself in the forward and the back, the whole entire self forward and back. Right. Like that. Slowly, and of course gently. And now you stop. And then do the same movement, rolling the entire self forward and the back, but using the left side of yourself and using in the ground. And how do you use and how do you press the left side of yourself into the ground? Then in order to move your entire self forward and the back, more lighter, the lighter way, an easier way. Now you're shifting your attention and changing and how you initiate the movement. And right away, you're trying to use a different strategy and different movement patterns, and then it might increase in effort because you don't know how to use yourself in that new way. And eventually, you're going to learn to actually reduce unnecessary effort in movements, and the movement becomes a little bit easier and lighter. And find a little easier way to move, so you don't feel like you're making such an effort to do that movement. All right, so really think about the floor is your friend, okay? And you can use the friend and to help you. And you're not fighting against the floor. You're working with the floor, and the floor can really help you. And how do you become a friend with the floor? And so that you can have much more pleasant experience in rolling entire self forward and back. Easy, easy, in a way that allows you to breathe and more, I guess, more comfortably. Okay, and use this movement and then to roll onto your back. Remove the padding underneath the head and rest on your back. Okay, just once from that, from there, and rolling onto your left side, just once, rolling onto your left side, and then come on back onto your back. Just slowly roll onto the left side. Okay, and then roll onto your back again and stay there. And notice the quality of the rolling onto the left side now and compared to the first time you did. And just only once, roll onto your right side. And just to notice how did that feel? And rolling onto the right side. A little different quality, probably, than rolling onto the left side. And that's okay. All right, and return onto your back and stay on your back, please. You know what? Actually, roll onto your left side. Let's lie on your left side. So the first thing is you're going to roll the entire self backwards, just a little bit, and stay there. So you're just starting to roll onto your back, but not too far, and leave it there. So you're not quite lying on your side, but slightly roll towards the back side, and stay there. And from that position, you're going to, just like you did the last time, you're going to roll the right shoulder forward and then back, but staying in that position. So you slightly tilt it or roll towards the back. And doing the similar movements of rolling the shoulder forward and back, but using the ground and pressing the left side of yourself in a way to move the shoulder, right shoulder forward and back. It's different because you're starting in a different place. Is it easy to roll towards the back from there? Or is it easier to roll forward from there? It's not the same as when you did it lying down completely on your side. It allows you to use yourself and find a different way to move from there. Okay, and you stop. And now you do the same movement with the pelvis and rolling the pelvis forward and back, but using the left side, using the left side and then pressing the left side into the ground to move move the pelvis forward and back in that position. It's a little different, Is it easier to roll towards the back or is it easier to roll towards the front? Okay. And now you stop. Now with the head, roll your head forward and back and using the floor and to roll the head. Don't strain your neck. Gentle, small range is fine. Is it easier to roll the head towards the back or towards the front from that position? And perhaps in one direction is a little bit more challenging, more difficult. Don't force it, okay? It really doesn't matter. It should be a little bit different in this position. So don't fight it. And just to find more ease and comfort and smoother movement. Okay, now you stop. So kind of going through the similar sequence, right? And moving your knee, lifting your right knee away from the left knee a little bit. So how is that? Is it a little easier to lift your knee than when you're lying on your side, completely on your side? How is it to lift your knee from there? Find a way to use the floor and find ways to use the left side and press the left side to lift your knee. What do you press? More than one part, perhaps. And stop. Lift your right foot away from the left foot. Now, how is it? Maybe it's a little harder. Maybe about the same. Okay. If it is hard, do less, lift less. Now strengthening exercise. Okay. And now roll the entire self back to the starting point, or more or less neutral place. And now you're going to roll the entire self a little bit more, 4 directions. So slightly, you're leaning more towards your belly. Not quite on your tummy, on your belly, but you're moving towards that direction. So the belly is moving towards the floor. And stay there. We'll go through the same kind of a sequence. Moving the right shoulder forward in backward directions. By using the left side and pressing the left side into the floor to move the shoulder forward and back. So now that you are slightly tilted forward, more towards the floor, is it easier to move forward now, or is it easier to move backwards? By changing the position, it changes the movements. It changes what was easy now is maybe it's more difficult, and maybe what was more difficult is now it's a little bit easier. But you can still find a way to move a little more easily and more comfortably. So how do you do that? Very good. And stop. Right hip, the pelvis, moving the pelvis forward and back in that positions. Using the left side, using the ground. And once again, it's different. You're finding it's easier to move in one direction. If so, which directions? Easier. You may feel some inclination to, when you find difficulty and when you find the movement is harder, and maybe the inclination is that to work harder, that you want to be able to do it better, but leave that. It's actually quite, it works quite the opposite. The harder you work, and the more habitual patterns that you're going to bring in, and that makes it even harder. So leave that, and when it's hard, don't even try. Okay, just leave it. Okay, let go, and stop. Now the hand. Gently roll your head forward and then back. Using the floor and to roll the head easily and comfortably And maybe a so small movement that you don't even see the movement. That's fine. And the improvement is really not directly proportional to the degree of your effort or the degree of the range. It's the opposite. And the less you try and less you actually effort, and the more you learn, and then the faster you're going to improve. It doesn't really make sense, but it really works. Okay, and stop. And as you expect, going down to the knee. From there now, okay, and you slightly tilt it towards the front, okay? And from there, you move your right knee away from the floor and press the left side of yourself and to lift your right knee. And now it's a little harder. And imagine that to lift your right knee when you're tilted slightly towards the front. But yet, you can still find a way to use the floor and use yourself to make that possible. We'll make that easy. And then foot, your right foot. Lift your right foot away from the left. Okay. By pressing the left side of yourself into the ground. So how does it feel to lift your right foot? In this position, you're tilted slightly forward. Is it easier than what it was when you're tilted towards the back? How is it easier? Why is it easier? Or why is it different? Okay. Right. So just a few times now to roll the entire self forward and back, using the floor and using the left side of yourself. Back a little bit and rolling forward a little bit. Forward and back. Okay, and use this movement and to roll onto your back and rest on your back and remove the padding underneath the head. So, really working on and doing the movements and rolling over to the left side and over, and then doing a different way and learning to use the different parts of yourself. And so how is it now to roll onto the left side? Just once from there and roll onto the left side once. Okay, and roll into your back. And stay on your back. And only once, going to the right side, only once, just so that you can feel clearly that it is different. Rolling over to the right. Yep. And coming back onto your back. So you stay on your back and with your legs long, if you're okay with the legs long, stay on your back and lift your right shoulder away from the floor. Lift your right shoulder away from the floor. And how does it feel to lift your right shoulder away from the floor now? a few times. And now, use your left shoulder and press the left shoulder into the floor and to lift your right shoulder. Can you do that? It's the same ideas as you did on your side. In a different orientation, it's a different experience, right? So can you become familiar with this new idea of lifting your right shoulder by pressing your left shoulder into the floor? Okay. Not a big lift, small lift, and stop. Breathe it. Now, roll your pelvis to the left side just a few times. Roll your pelvis to the left side, turning your pelvis to the left side. Okay. So, can you use the left side and can you press the left side to lift right side? Or to turn to the left side. Again, same ideas, but in a different orientations. Don't work too hard. Don't work too hard. When it doesn't feel easy, do less, okay? If you don't really pay attention, then what happens is you're gonna work harder and it's gonna get even harder. So by trying less, by letting go and not trying so hard, it actually gets easier. Okay, stop. Now you can do the right shoulder and the right hip together and roll and lift your right shoulder and right hip together and to turn yourself and to roll the entire self towards the left side a little bit. Use the ground and find a way to use the ground and press yourself and different parts of yourself and to roll towards the left side. And slowly roll onto your left side. Support your head with the padding, please. So maybe this is the last thing we're going to do. We're going to roll the entire self forward and return to the middle. Okay, so you're going to go forward, but you can go each time you're going to go a little further forward. So you're going to roll onto your belly. As you're coming closer to the belly, you can lengthen your legs and you can lengthen your arms so you can roll onto your tummy. Okay. And slowly and gradually, and eventually, you're going to be on your belly. But as you're going to come closer to your belly, you're going to let your legs lengthen so that you can you can lie on your belly. Okay, then as you return, you're going to fold your legs, stand, and turn it to your side, if that makes sense. So can you roll onto your belly, all the way onto your belly? And if you have to do something with your left arm, if it gets in the way, and feel free to just move your arm or move the padding underneath the head so that you can roll onto your belly. Can you roll onto your belly? Of course, you have to move your arms, okay? And then roll onto your side by folding yourself, folding your legs, folding yourself, and to bring yourself onto your side again. Okay, so at this point, if the pillow cushion underneath, if it gets in the way, you can use your left arm to support your head and do that. Okay, so just going through that movement, rolling entire self, using the ground, and then onto your belly and lengthen your legs. And as you're coming back onto your side, and fold yourself, fold your leg. And do it in smooth and continuous way so that there is, okay, no momentum needed. You're just going to fold yourself and then lengthen yourself and fold yourself and then lengthen yourself and to move from your side to your belly. All right. And now stay on your side. You're going to roll the entire self backwards. And each time you go further and further and towards your back. And you add and then eventually you're going to be rolling yourself onto your back. It might be a good idea to maybe get rid of the pillow at this point so that you can actually move more freely on the floor. And as you rolling yourself onto your back and lengthen your legs and lengthen your arms. So you'll be on your back with the legs long. And as you returning to your side, you're going to fold yourself. Fold your legs and fold yourself into coming back onto your side. And continue to do that movement from your side, rolling onto your back and rolling onto your side. And can you do it continuously so there is no effort in one part of yourself? When you distribute in the effort, okay? And here's the last thing, all right? Almost done. Here's the last thing. You're going to go roll entire self onto the front, going onto your stomach, and then roll onto your side, and then roll, continue to roll onto your back. You're going to alternate, rolling from the side to the front, to the side, and to the back. Coordinate your legs, your toes. Find a way to use the ground to help you move. And freely, so that floor is your friend, not something that you are fighting against. Okay. And then the next time you roll onto your back and stay on your back and rest. So for the last time, slowly, once, roll onto your left side. Okay, and notice the quality of the rolling onto the left side and compare it to the first time you did today in the beginning of the lesson. Okay, roll onto your back again. Roll onto your back and stay on your back. Okay, only once. You're going to roll onto the right side. Okay. Even without even doing that sequence on the left side, you may find it that, you maybe have, you have learned that patterns and you're starting to integrate that pattern rolling onto the right side. but it still maybe feels a little bit difficult or maybe a lot harder to roll to the right side than the left side. And that's okay. This lesson is definitely, yeah, one-sided, and then you probably feel a lot lighter or maybe different. You're sensing one side of the body is a lot different than the other side. That's quite normal if you're feeling that way. So roll into your back, and before I'm going to have you stand up and just take just a moment and to scan your contact. Legs long, legs straight down on the floor. And just like you did in the beginning of the lesson, and notice the contact of yourself. Contact of your legs. And notice the space behind your back. And then if you are ready to stand up and roll onto your side, which side would you choose to roll? Roll to the side that you have been practicing today, or did you choose to roll to the opposite side? Okay. And when you stand, take your time, no rush. When you stand up, and just take just a quick moment and to sense yourself. And you may feel very kind of off balance or strange or not very symmetrical because you've done all the rolling lessons and are going to mostly the left side. So it might feel a little bit off, but that's, I'm not surprised if you're feeling that way. But just sense yourself. And as you're standing, just if you're to think, okay, and if you're to roll and turn to the right side, how does it feel to turn to the right side? You can turn, you can turn. How does the body turn to the right side? And just feel, how does it turn to the left side, and the difference in the quality. Is there any difference when you turn yourself to the right and when you turn yourself to the left side? Difference in the quality. Okay. And if you want to, and you can walk around your room and just to notice, and maybe anything different and in the way that your body feels in walking. Maybe one side, maybe you feel like as if you're turning constantly to the left side, maybe, I don't know. Or maybe you feel it's very off balance or something different in the quality of the walking, in the sensation of the walking. All right, and you can come on back